The unit of empire in the classic European empires was the colony. The unit for the American empire is not the colony, it's the military base.
Accounting for less than 5% of the world's population, Americans represent the modern-day empire of the 21st century. But I'm positive most Americans don't realize they live in an empire. It would be like explaining the characteristics of water to a fish. It's everywhere around you. It just is. This film is an attempt to convince Americans that we live in an empire and that there is no such thing as a good empire. My name is Will, and this is The Peace Report. If you want to support independent media like this, be sure to visit patreon.com/thepeacereport.
Because I think this war has diverted attention from civil rights, it has strengthened the forces of reaction in our country and has brought to the forefront the military-industrial complex that even President Eisenhower warned us against at one time.
There are 3 facts that prove that the United States of America is an empire. Fact number 1 is our national security spending. Fact number 2 is our empire of bases. And fact number 3 are the SOFAs, the status of forces agreements that go along with the bases that are all around the globe. Fact number 1, national security spending. Like any major event that projects fear into the minds of the population, the first response tends to be the sacrifice of freedom in exchange for a higher level of national security. And so, since 9/11, America has drastically changed, especially its foreign policy. Part of that change includes not only massive increases to military spending, but also increases in spending on national security and its apparatus that has been built around the already existing military-industrial complex. Because not all of the defense budget covers spending for the Pentagon.
We mask how much we spend. Officially, we spend a little more than 53% of discretionary spending on defense. Well, that's just not true. It doesn't count Veterans Affairs. It doesn't count our nuclear weapons program. And, it doesn't count all of the black agendas, black budgets that we're not allowed to see. So best estimates are that we're spending $1.6, $1.7 trillion a year. And you can't talk about serious reform when you are diverting such massive amounts of your resources towards the war machine. That's what Martin Luther King's 1967 speech at Riverside Church understood, that we can't build what Johnson called the new society, the great society, and maintain imperial war.
And today, America has consistently been spending $1 trillion every year on defense and national security.
You can see it by the budget figures that the United States is in fact a warfare state. It's addicted to militarism, it's addicted to war spending, and it's addicted to war profit.
America currently has 800 military bases around the world in 80 countries. And these bases are what separates the colonizer from the colonized. But how many foreign military bases are on US soil? 0. But to really understand this number, we need to see it in context. America spends more on the military than the next 8 countries combined. And if you add up all of the other military bases on foreign soil, it only adds up to somewhere between 40 to 60 bases.
What this combination of imperial overstretch in over 700 bases around the world, combined with the tremendous vested interest in perpetuating it, add that the correct word for it is empire, and the correct word for its Siamese twin is militarism.
Status of Forces Agreements, also called SOFAs, are what really makes America an empire. It's a legally binding contract that keeps America's position superior to other nations. And America has these agreements with at least 100 countries. Some people say the US-Japan SOFA is superior to Japan's own constitution. In South Korea, the Pentagon controls the entire South Korean military under wartime. And many of these SOFAs are kept out of the spotlight because governments are just downright embarrassed of the agreements.
This provides a form of influence and power that allows U.S. government officials to exert influence on other countries, and not just military influence, but political, diplomatic, economic influence to keep countries within a system largely defined by U.S. policymakers. There are, of course, also tremendous amounts of money that these bases generate in the form of contracts for military contractors who make in the tens of billions of dollars a year. So even though in many ways maintaining so many bases overseas is very much an outdated Cold War and World War II era military strategy, the money being made by military contractors sustains this system. It's become a system that is self-sustaining and has taken on a life of its own.
To focus on war and not war preparation is to simply shovel after the elephant. One has to look at the war preparations that are going on around the world, which military bases are central to. If one doesn't pay attention to that, then again we can only deal with the symptoms, which is warfare. There's a saying that goes, "When soldiers come, war comes."